Hey guys, this is Tailwind here with another AFK Arena video. And today's video is actually on a topic that I've been chatting with my guildmates for quite a bit of time now. When that new person joins the game and suddenly you realize you have to cover some basic concepts like ascending heroes or hero level or priorities, things to do, things not to do. And I know the internet is full of these things, but I kind of decided I want to try and do it my own way. So if you look at the description below, you will already find that there is a Google spreadsheet where I actually started to do some sort of guide that also covers these concepts. But I figured that if I show them to you also a bit in-game, it might be helpful. So let's get into the actual content. Um, yes, so you're a beginner, you just started playing the game, you're looking at all the crazy interface that's happening here, all these hero concepts. Probably you've passed already the first chapter, if we see here in the world map. So if you are here at chapter 1 and you've completed this and now you are at the bastion of the elements, and yeah, suddenly you have things to pop in the tavern, heroes to decide upon, formations to build, and it's all super overwhelming. So the first and most important concept that I think is kind of crucial for playing AFK Arena properly and getting a very good initial development is to actually understand how hero ascension levels work, ascension tiers, what to prioritize, yeah, all these things. I know that it's being said that AFK Arena is a game where you can't really make mistakes, and in a way that's true. I mean, first of all, it's just a game, so most of us are here to have fun. Some of us take it a bit more seriously, but in the end, yeah, it's not like you're making crucial mistakes that stop you from playing the game. But this is also a game of patience and a game of waiting. And sometimes this waiting can maybe surpass your threshold, let's say, of patience. And this has happened to me a couple of times. And then, yeah, you have two options. One option is obviously to spend money, which of course helps the game itself and the community, because obviously nothing is free in this world. And then another option that we have is to strategize a bit better. So the fewer mistakes, let's call them, or well, decisions that lead to your character moving a bit slower are made. Yeah, the better it will be for your development throughout the campaign, throughout the game itself. So with this being said, the first concept I actually want to talk about is if we go here into portraits, it's actually the ascension tiers. So there are three main ascension tiers that are super relevant for AFK Arena, and they are called Ascended, where we have most of the heroes here. And then down below we have the legendary tier heroes, and at the bottom of the list the common tier heroes. For the common tier heroes, I'm not really gonna bother much in this video. Um, they're basically fodder, so maybe you used this guy Ulrich because you got him in the initial campaign, and of course you're gonna face these guys as opponents in the campaign, but other than that, they're not good. They're not something you want in your hero formations. You can't even like grow them when it comes to ascension level, as we will see. So from this point of view, common tier heroes can be considered, let's say, fodder. Fodder in the sense that you're gonna just grind them here into the rickety cart, retire them. I would actually check this automatically retire new common heroes immediately after you have a couple of heroes so you can do your daily quests. And then, yeah, they just get turned into these hero coins, which you can, of course, exchange into the store for the purple stones. So this is it for the common tier. I really wouldn't bother more about it. Um, Now legendary tier heroes and ascendant tier heroes are both super relevant, and they're essential to actually playing the game. So the first crucial difference between these two is that this tier, basically what it does, it sets the maximum potential of a hero. So ascended tier heroes can raise up to ascended level, which means that ultimately they will not be capped in level. They will be able to grow indefinitely. And basically legendary heroes are, let's call, tier subset, namely they are quite a few levels under, and they are kept at Legendary Plus. We will talk about these levels in a moment. But the idea is that they are basically limited in level. So from the end of the mid game, or let's say the beginning of the mid game nowadays, I think, as the game keeps progressing, which is level 160. So once you reach this threshold, these heroes can no longer grow, so their potential is super, super, super limited. And for this reason, you may want to use some of these heroes at the beginning of the game. Some people would argue, of course, that there are some good heroes. Well, there's one of them, namely Arden, which you can also use in later stages. But all in all, because their level is capped, they lose from their power greatly, and yeah, eventually you want to get rid of them. So, with this being said, your main team will end up being focused on these ascended tier heroes, and yeah, we will be also using the legendary heroes, as we will see in a few moments. So the next thing, after you're aware of the tier of a hero, then we can have a look a bit at the Ascension levels. So heroes in AFK Arena actually grow into dimensions. They can grow in level, as we see here. Our heroes have different levels, and of course, the more they grow in level, the more powerful they are. I will not cover much about level in this tutorial. We can have a separate discussion about that. Um, but the other dimension that we're interested in is the Ascension level. So basically for the Ascension level, you have, for Ascended tier heroes, they start at Elite, which is, let's say, the starting point of an Ascended tier level, tier hero. So you have Ascended tier heroes that start at Elite, Ascended, Elite level, Ascension level, Elite. Boy, this is confusing. Basically, they start at elite level, and from elite they can get to elite plus. If you see this marker, or you can actually read it here as well. Then you have legendary, legendary plus. So legendary, which is the simple yellow border. This one with embellishments is the legendary plus. Then you have mythic, mythic plus, and finally you have ascended. And what's interesting is that once you get to Ascended, you can also continue adding up to 5 stars to the heroes. The stars just increase their power, but they're not. I would argue they're not as relevant as actual Ascension level. Yeah. So why is this Ascension level important? The Ascension level is important because first and foremost, it will determine how high your hero can increase in level. There is a caveat to this. So there are two ways you can actually increase in level in this game. And one of them is by doing it manually, like I have with these top 5 heroes. So if I go here and you have this actual level up, if you manually upgrade heroes, the level up to which you can upgrade them is limited by their Ascension tier, Ascension level. I keep mixing that. Ascension level. The tier refers to the potential, the level refers to the actual Ascension level. Okay, sorry for the confusion. I really hope I'm not making this much more confusing for you guys. So, if we look at my heroes here, for instance, I have this Tidus that is manually upgraded up to level 180. To get him further, up to level 200, it actually says here max Ascension level reached, which means that I need to get this hero to Mythic Plus before I can continue ascending him, leveling him up. Then for Laika, because she's a Mythic Plus now, is limited to level 200, and these Ascended heroes can in theory go up to level 240. There is a catch though, because if you look here underneath the list, you will see that I have other heroes that are at level 180, so you're gonna be like, okay, you just said that um, a hero at, let's say, Elite is capped at level 100. So how can it be that I have these Elite heroes at level 180? And the answer is the Resonating Crystal. So the Resonating Crystal, if you haven't gotten it, don't worry, you will get it pretty soon. I think it's in Chapter 4, and it's actually essential for this game. What it allows you is to focus on these top 5 heroes, which are automatically selected based on their manual level. So what I did is that I actually invested only in these 5 heroes. And this is what you should be doing when it comes to the way AFK Arena is being played. You focus only on the top 5 heroes to increase their level. And what happens is that then you add additional heroes underneath this Resonating Crystal. You can do this, of course, for free, in the sense that you have a number of spots available. To open more spots, you need this special currency. I'm not even sure how this is called. It doesn't even say. But anyway, these gems, let's call them, can be used to unlock extra slots, and you get more gems as you spend more AFK time. Or of course, you can unlock slots spending diamonds, which honestly I don't think is really worth it. So you can put heroes into the slots, and of course you can also exchange heroes. Like for instance, if I'm done with Odin, I don't want to use him right now, I can just get him out of the crystal. I get him back to level 1. I push him out of the crystal, and then I have to either wait 24 hours to put him back. I'm not gonna do it now, or pay obviously 100 crystals to automatically unlock the slot. Okay, so as I was saying, these 5 heroes are upgraded manually. These heroes in the resonating crystal are automatically boosted, and they're actually boosted to the 5th level in the top. So if we see here, obviously it doesn't really make sense because Shamira has 220 and everyone else has 180. So yeah, the lowest level is 180. But if we imagine that all these heroes had different levels, it would automatically pick just the minimum. So because the minimum is 180, it is automatically copied into all your resonating crystal heroes. And the cool part is that this copying doesn't actually care about the Ascension level, but it cares about the Ascension tier. So as I was saying, some heroes like Arden, Savias, and a few others, if we go here, are actually legendary tier. Let's look at Golus, for instance. So Golus is a legendary tier hero. He's at Elite Plus here, but he can go up to Legendary Plus. So I could go ahead and I could put him in the Crystal. But if I put him into the Crystal, he's still gonna be limited up to level 160. You simply cannot go higher than the limit imposed by the tier. And this is the reason why, yeah, you will want to focus on Ascension tier heroes. Okay, so with this being said, obviously we want these heroes to be as high as possible in terms of level, so we can copy that level below. So you want to focus on Ascension level primarily here. You want to grow these heroes as much as possible. And how you choose these heroes, well, there are a few things you need to consider, and I will come back to this. But what I can already tell you is that just because I have these top 5 heroes doesn't mean I use them specifically all in the campaign. And yeah, we will of course talk about this as well. So for now, keep in mind that the Ascension tier is very, very, very important, and also the Ascension level. So the Ascension tier tells you the potential of a hero, and the Ascension level tells you where that hero is. And of course, to grow a hero in regular level, you need to increase his or her Ascension level. Okay, so now how do we actually increase this level? Well, that's actually pretty simple. If you go into Reinhorn, into Temple of Ascension, you will see that there are here all the heroes that you possess, including heroes that can be ascended. And these heroes are usually marked with this exclamation mark. So to actually ascend heroes, let's select a regular elite hero. I hope I have. Do I have any at elite? No, I don't have any at elite. Okay. But I can select one. Okay, so I have an elite hero even though I cannot upgrade him. And if you look at an elite hero, it says that in order to ascend him, you need another copy of itself. So to ascend this Iron, I actually need another elite Iron. Well, now of course I don't, but if I did, I would be able to combine the two, and basically I would get an Iron, but at Elite Plus. I don't think I have any Irons at Elite Plus. I do have a Gorvo though. So to ascend from Elite to Elite Plus, you need multiple copies, well, 2 copies of the same hero. To get that hero from Elite Plus to Legendary, you need that particular Legendary Elite Plus hero, sorry, like in this case our Gorvo, he's at Elite Plus, and 2 more, let's call them food heroes, also at Elite Plus and from the same faction. And this actually applies to Lightbearers, Maulers, Wilders, and Graveborn. Celestials and Hypogeans follow a bit of a different rule, and I will explain that in a moment as well. So to upgrade this Gorvo, I need 2 other Elite Plus Wilders. And here is where the trick begins, because you guys might look at this now and say, hey, why are you not putting the other Gorvos in it? Because once you get at the legendary level, the problem is that you need another Elite Plus copy of the same hero to get it to Legendary Plus. And I think I have a Legendary Plus, yeah, this Brutus. So, to get this Brutus from Legendary to Legendary Plus, I actually needed another Elite Plus Brutus. And if we make a bit of a math, you will see that basically to get any hero from Elite to Legendary Plus, you need 4 Elite copies. First, 2 Elite copies to make an Elite Plus, then some food to make him Legendary, and then another 2 Elite copies that make another Elite Plus to get him to Legendary Plus. So, once you are at Legendary Plus, you need to spend again food, and this is just, in this case, it's a Mauler because Brutus is a Mauler. You need another Legendary Plus random Mauler. And once you get to Mythic, to get to Mythic Plus, you need to do the same. Again, another Legendary Plus Mauler. And now people might ask, okay, why am I not spending this Brutus? And the reason for this is because I want to actually keep this Brutus and I want to play with him eventually. So I cannot do that if I'm going to consume him into Tidus. And then from Legendary Mythic Plus to Ascended, now this is actually tricky because you actually need 2 Elite Plus copies, which is another 4 copies basically of that hero, another 4 Elite copies of that hero. 2 Elites make 1 Elite Plus, 2 Elite Pluses to ascend this Laika, for instance, from Mythic Plus to Ascended. So, with this being said, basically to understand Ascension very well, you have 3 hops that require copies of the same hero, and 3 hops that require, let's say, some random heroes. And the hops are from Elite to Elite Plus. So let's go back. Elite to Elite Plus. I don't know what's happening. Elite to Elite Plus, where you need 2 copies of the hero. Then from Legendary to Legendary Plus, where you need another 2 copies of the hero. And then from Mythic Plus to Ascended, where you need 4 more copies of that hero. And this is basically 8 copies of the hero. For food, you need 2 Elite Pluses to get him from Elite Plus to Legendary. Then we need 1 Legendary Plus, which is equivalent to 4 Elites. 4 Elite Pluses. So 4 Elite Pluses to get a Legendary Plus. So you can make this Mythic. And then you need to do the same again with another Legendary Plus to get him to Mythic Plus. So that's a lot of heroes you're gonna kind of absorb into your main hero and they're gonna be gone. And probably what I forgot to mention, and it's very, very important, is how you're actually getting these heroes. So if you look at Ascended tier heroes, they always drop at Elite level. There are some exceptions. There are some particular heroes you can get in very, very, very specific quests. I think Belinda is one of them, which you get after 7 days, and she's already Elite Plus. And I'm not sure if the Paid Estrilda is Elite or Elite Plus. But other than that, I'm pretty sure that every copy of the hero you get, you're gonna get at Elite. And if it comes to getting the heroes from the regular Tavern cards, so the cards you can buy regardless from where you're dropping them, they're always gonna be Elite. If you're gonna Stargaze for them, of course, you're also gonna get only Elite copies. And if you pop purple stones, these are also gonna give you, as we can see here, an Elite hero. So basically what you need to do to make sure you can grow your Ascended tier hero to Ascended level, you need to drop him 8 times. That's it. Sounds very simple, but it actually can be quite difficult. When it comes to the legendary tier heroes, and here is where the nice part is, they actually drop quite a lot. So they are very, 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 very frequent. The problem with them is that they will not drop at Elite. The only place where they will actually drop at Elite is from these Elite Hero Soulstones. And usually when you drop these kind of food heroes, legendary tier heroes, you're gonna be like, I wish it would have been an ascended tier hero. Hopefully Celestial or Hypogean, but yeah. So you're not gonna be very happy if you drop food from here. And the reason for that is because you can get food from these blue stones, and they actually drop at rare uh, Ascension level, and I will get to that next. And then of course, they also drop from the Noble Tavern here. And if you look here, you can see there is a 43% chance that a card that's being opened in a pack is going to be at rare tier, and only 4.61% that it's going to be elite tier hero. And most elite tier heroes are. I'm not even sure if you can drop legendary tier heroes as elite. Yeah, I'm not sure. But apart from the fact that you can add them to the wish list, which you shouldn't, um, I don't think I've seen regular legendary tier heroes dropped in cards at elite level. Anyway, so in general, you're gonna drop blue copies. Now the blue is the rare tier, so basically it's a level below. So if you look here, you will see that to get a hero from rare to rare plus, you need actually 3 copies of that hero. So that's from rare to rare plus. And then at rare plus, you actually need, and let me see, I must have a rare plus here. Use my mouse. You need 2 random rare plus heroes. So basically to get an elite copy of this, you need 9 rare copies, and they need to be free. So free of one hero, free of another hero, and free of another hero. Luckily, these legendary tier heroes are not that many, so they drop quite often. And if you look here, for instance, like Graveborn, where I've used food intensively, I already have 2 rare plus Sylvinas, and I'm waiting for a Nero to get another rare plus, and then I can combine these to get elite Sylvina. And then, of course, you need 2 elite Sylvinas to get her to elite plus, which is going to be used as main food. So yeah, if you do a bit of math, you will see that you need quite a bit of these, let's call them food heroes, but they still drop very often, and you won't be able to do anything with them. So this is why when you hear people saying, or maybe you haven't heard this before, but the rule says that in order to upgrade, for instance, I don't know, maybe I want to make this Nara from elite plus to a legendary. These 2 heroes, I always want them to be food. So I want them to be legendary tier heroes, which could mean either Sylvina or Niru or what was the other guy's name? I'm forgetting it now. Vedan. So I could put this Vedan here, and if I had another Elite Plus hero that's a legendary tier hero, and sure, I could make this Nara legendary, and it would be fine. But I wouldn't consume my Odin, for instance, and my Grazul, who are actually quite valuable, and they are ascended tier heroes, to make this Nara legendary. Yep. So this is kind of the idea behind how you can actually increase the tier of your heroes, and you can see that it is a long process. It's gonna take you quite some time, so you need a bit of strategy here. So when it comes to strategy, and I'm still talking about the 4 main factions, at the end I will explain a bit Celestial and Hypogeans and why they're not very realistic to focus on heavily, especially if you're a free-to-play account. If you're gonna spend heavily, then yes, of course, Celepogeans become very important if you want to stay in the top, especially in PvP. And also in PvE, they help you a lot, but they are very expensive, basically. So yeah, basically knowing how the Ascension tiers work, the next step is kind of understanding some of the traps you want to avoid. And why do I mean they are traps? Is simply because they're going to slow down your game. So you want to be able to progress through the campaign nicely. The campaign increases in level significantly, it becomes more and more difficult. You want to be able to push this campaign as much as possible because, well, first of all, it's fun, and secondly, because you get better and better rewards and better drop if you're higher actually in the campaign. So the faster you push into the campaign, the better the rewards. The better the rewards, the faster you can continue to grow. So yeah, it's kind of a self-feeding loop that never ends. So the first thing I would like to mention is that yes, always use legendary tier heroes as food. So don't waste, and there are some exceptions of course, and if you really know what you're doing, you might end up doing something like maybe, I don't know, feeding, let me look a bit here. Maybe I want to feed this Hendrik to this fox. Yeah, some people who are big Hendrik fans will now cringe now, and I agree, Hendrik is a good hero. But there are some, well, debatable heroes. I know some people who hate Thane, for instance, or Rain, or Rigby. I know there is a lot of joke around Rigby, how bad of a hero he is. So in some very particular corner situations, you might end up, wait, maybe I want to consume this hero even though it's ascended tier, just because I'm stuck right now and I really, really want, for instance, my Lucius to ascend it. I don't know. But in general, I would recommend against it. So, especially if you're at the beginning of the game and you don't know the hero so well, talk to someone in your guild, get a second opinion. Maybe there are some heroes that are really bad now, but once you upgrade them a bit, they're gonna get better. So, yeah, very, very important. Use legendary tier heroes as food. Problem number two, or let's say aspect number two to consider, is that you don't want to focus on too many heroes at the same time. And the first reason for this is obviously the resonating crystal. So you have only the top 5 heroes here matter, right? So if I only need to increase these manually, then these are gonna be my bottleneck for the level increase, the actual level increase. Ascension level translates into potential higher actual level. But because I don't care about the level of the hero, the ascension level of the heroes inside the resonating crystal. Look, I have an elite Aline, uh, and she's amazing. But I mean, she's only elite. I could never upgrade her below level 100. But because I've upgraded these heroes so much, I'm not limited by them. The only one that limits me right now is Tidus, because he's only mythic, and I will soon get enough food to get him to mythic plus. Um, so yes, this is very, very, very important. Focus only on these 5 heroes at the beginning of the game. Now, how do you choose these 5 heroes? Well, it kind of depends on your playstyle, it depends on your preference, but there are some general guidelines that can help. Mainly, since there are 4 main factions, you want to focus on one hero per faction to begin with. So you want to look at all the 5 factions, maybe after a couple of drops you get a good idea of on who you need to focus. And this is very important. So focus on the heroes you're dropping here. Let's say, for instance, I got lucky and I got Rowan at Elite Plus. And maybe I got more copies so I could get him to Legendary Plus. I already know I want to focus on Rowan because I know he's a good hero, and yeah, I can focus on him, and I have the copies, so, and I'm gonna get more copies eventually, so I know what I want to focus on. But, and to get them to Legendary Plus, you basically need 4 Elite copies, which is not that much, but still, it can be painful, and there is still some randomness behind it. So because you have 4 factions, you're gonna kind of get, I don't know, some very specific heroes, and you will know, okay, these are the heroes I can grow. Like for instance, for me here for Tidus, I would argue that Sophia and Brutus are much, much better than Tidus, but I didn't get the copies. I got the copies for the Tidus. If you look here, I'm only getting my 3rd Sophia, so having waited for my 4th Sophia would have meant that I would have been 1 hero short. And okay, this is one reason why you want to pick one from each faction, but another reason is actually because of the food. Because you are going to drop random heroes. These packs, these regular packs you're opening, are not discriminating by faction. When it comes to these friendship summons or the regular summons, they don't care from which faction they give you. Basically, the drop is random. You can get a random pool. And because the rates are kind of, let's say, balanced, if we were to make very, very, very many pools, you would see that eventually you would get similar number of heroes from each of the 4 primary factions. The food is spread around. And because the food is spread around, you have limited resources. You can't focus on only one faction or only 2 factions. Maybe you get very lucky, but long term, eventually, statistics say that the food will spread out. So what you want to do in this case, you want to pick 1 hero per faction. But that's 4 factions and you need 5 heroes. So to solve this problem, you actually want to pick a primary faction. A lot of people love Lightbearers as the main faction, others love the Wilders. There are also Graveborn fans. I think the Maulers are probably the weakest faction because they have the least, let's say, juicy heroes. Um, but I've known people who've done Mauler accounts, so that's also an option. But anyway, pick one faction that you want it to be your primary faction. Maybe after a couple of drops, you can figure out, okay, this is my primary faction. You don't need to decide immediately, but you do need to decide early enough. And the reason for this is because you're gonna get these cards. Oh, I have none here, but you're gonna get faction specific card. Well, you're gonna get an elite card, for example, and these elite cards, as you're doing pools, give you the option to choose to open a random hero from a specific faction. Another one are the faction scrolls, which you will get eventually from the campaign. And the faction scrolls allow you to basically open only heroes from a specific faction. Yes, there is a random, or actually, I think there is a particular schedule. We see now we have Wilders, after Wilders, Graveborn, and then I think we go back to Lightbearers. But in general, you're gonna get one faction per day from which you can open these packs. My recommendation is not to open from all. Just wait for your specific faction. And if you're really in a hurry or you have a lot of packs or I don't know, for whatever reason you want to switch, for 300 diamonds, you can switch to your favorite faction. In theory, I would recommend to do this only, I don't know if I have very many packs or if you really cannot wait. In general, I would recommend waiting, but if you really don't want to wait, then switch the faction around and then open packs from that particular faction. Okay, so this is how you can kind of spread the joy around, and how you guys can see I actually did here. I have a Graveborn, 2 Lightbearers, because I picked Lightbearers as my main faction. Yeah, elitists would say that I am very predictable, and I am. And then 1 Mauler and 1 Welder. Celestials and Hypogeans, and let me go to them now, are so rare that you will drop them very scarcely. So you can't really use them to focus on pushing up your team level. So you're lucky if you get 1 Celestial or Hypogean every, I don't know how many packs. I've seen people opening dozens of packs and getting maybe 1, maybe 2 of these. It's super random. Of course, you can get super lucky and maybe, I don't know, pull a double Celestials like one of my guildmates did the other day. And I was like, wow, I've never seen this, but this is super rare. Yeah. So don't focus on them. Focus on the 4 primary factions. If you get Celestials, Hypogeans, of course they're nice. You can put them in the crystal. You can use many of them at lower ascension levels. But don't think of them as the main team you're focusing on ascending. Okay. Yeah, as I said, not all the focused heroes need to be part of the main team. And the reason for this is because there are heroes that, well, mainly support heroes, not here. So if I'm looking here at the Resonating Crystal, you see that I have, as I said, a mixture of factions. And the problem with mixing these heroes is that even if they would go, let's say, well together, in battle you benefit if you put heroes from the same faction into the same team. Plus, there are some heroes that are really good. For instance, Fox is one of these heroes. But I already had Lucius and Rowan to focus on from the Lightbearer, so I couldn't focus on Fox as well. But he's so good with his coffin ability that I can use him even only at Elite Plus and progress in campaign with him. Kind of the same for Talene, who is amazing, even though she is only Elite. She's putting a lot of work. She's the best hero in the game. Of course, Ascension levels will eventually help her if I get to ascend her on this account. But again, because she's so amazing at Elite, I can work with her just like that. So usually what happens is that this Tidus and this Like are very rarely part of my main team. Lucius, Shamira, and Rowan, yes, they are part of my main team, and I use them, yeah, now pretty much to push in either campaign or tower or whatever. And then I can fill in the remaining spots with, I don't know, the heroes that make the most sense and are, you have a bit of flexibility basically. So your main playing team doesn't have to be the same with your main team that you're focusing on ascending. Okay, try to stay focused when it comes to hero choices. Yeah, this is super important. So one way to stay focused is, first thing you want to do is you want to select a good wish list. I know, I've removed Belinda from here already. I'm not a Belinda player. I got her to Legendary Plus only. I have enough copies to send her, whatever. Um, yeah. So this wish list is something you want to define at the beginning of the game. And the reason for this is because you're going to start doing pulls. And this wish list influences the pulls you get in the scrolls here. And actually, I think it's in all three scrolls. And that's about it. So they're not going to influence the cards or the stones. So the stones do not take the wish list into consideration. The faction cards do not take this into consideration. Only the scrolls do, as far as I know. So, but scrolls are the main way in which you're gonna actually get heroes. So the best way to, sorry, having three cats around the house. Yeah. So because you're gonna get most of your heroes from scrolls, you want to focus on the wish list. Define your wish list at the beginning of the game. It doesn't have to be my wish list here. By the way, I'm not having Shamira even though she's my main carry because I don't see the point of starting her up so much. Some people would disagree, for instance. This wish list will change over time, but the idea is that you want to define it at the beginning of the game and stick to it. Because if you swap heroes around very frequently while you're doing pools, what happens is that basically you're spreading your elite copies. And we already said that we want to focus on specific heroes so we can grow. So you can grow the level of your team, so you can grow your account in general. So if you're not focusing on specific heroes and you keep swapping them around, of course, this is going against that plan. So focus is super, super, super important. Define your wish list, talk to your guildmates, ask around, find the heroes you think would work best for you and stick to them. And please put 5 heroes for each faction because putting less actually doesn't help. If I were to remove Cecilia from here, what I'm doing is that these heroes stick to the same chance, and if somehow, let's say, the behind the scenes engine would pick this empty spot, it will actually pick a random hero. That's not in the wishlist, which is, yeah, kind of sucky. In the sense that if you have choices, make those choices. If you can choose 5 heroes, choose your top 5 heroes. Okay, and don't pick legendary tier heroes here. I wouldn't put, I don't know, Mirel here or Angelo or whatever. No, 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 no. Okay. Upgrade from Elite Plus, only directed to Legendary Plus. Yeah. This is, I think, the biggest issue I see on some accounts. And I could actually show one of my guildmates' account, but I don't want to upset her. But the idea is that I've seen these accounts where people have like, I don't know, 3 rows of legendary heroes, and by legendary I'm looking here, or maybe 4 rows of legendary here, and that's it. So a very flat team. And we already said that flat teams are limited in hero level. But the real problem is that, okay, to make a hero legendary is not difficult. It really isn't. If you look, I can look at many heroes here. I can look at my Cecilia, for instance. And let me go back into the temple, actually. And if I want to upgrade Cecilia, I need 2 Elite Plus heroes, whatever. I can get the food fast and I can upgrade her to legendary. But then, because I don't have the extra Elite Plus copy, I cannot get her to Legendary Plus. And why is this a problem? Well, because seeing as that hero is gonna get stuck, so like I got this Darcy stuck at Legendary, because at that point I had the most copies out of her, so I had to choose someone to upgrade to unblock my level. But besides this, you get stuck with a lot of heroes, you spent all this food, eventually you will get your copies. Let's say, for instance, how I got the copies to make this Brutus Legendary Plus. Okay, I make Brutus Legendary Plus, but now the question is the following one. Do I have the food for him? Because I've spent in so many legendary heroes, I suddenly don't have the food. So I'm stuck now with many legendary hero, 1 legendary plus, when instead if I would have saved that food, I would have been able to, let's say in the case of this Brutus, of course I have Tidus, so that's fine. But assuming I didn't have Tidus and I had a bunch of legendaries here, I would have had this. But I don't have another legendary plus, which legendary plus is 4 elite plus copies of food. And that's to get them to Mythic. To get them to Mythic Plus, you need another 4 Elite Plus copies of food, which is a lot. So instead of wasting your food around, save it and target one particular hero at a time, and that hero can be best picked if you can get them from Elite Plus directly to Legendary Plus. Because what happens is that afterwards you use food to get them to Mythic Plus, and then from Mythic Plus you're basically done with that hero. Sure, you need the copies to get them to Ascended, but you optimize the potential on the hero much more than if you would have got them all stuck at Legendary. So yes, focusing on specific heroes, and if you don't have anything, this is a situation where I would wait instead of spending your food. Okay, very important. If I already have, like, let's say in the example here, let me look a little, I already have a Legendary Plus Brutus. The only Brutus copies I'm ever gonna need on this account are Elite Plus copies. So because I already have a Legendary Plus Brutus, I'm not gonna make another Legendary Brutus, and this is something you should avoid. Short of Ascended tier heroes, you should... So for Legendary tier heroes, you can make as many Legendary Pluses as you want, keeping in mind that you're gonna need Elite Plus copies to upgrade the heroes you actually want to upgrade to Legendary, and then to Legendary Plus. So, but for regular heroes, the rare Legendary tier, whatever you want to call them, you can upgrade them with less stress that, oh my god, I already had an Arden that was Legendary Plus, and now I have another Arden that's Legendary. Yeah, okay, you're gonna use them for food. But for this Brutus, for instance, if I upgrade my another Brutus to Legendary, and I already have one as Legendary Plus, I cannot do anything with my extra Legendary copy. I can upgrade it to Legendary Plus and feed it to the other Brutus, which goes against the most important rule that I've said. Don't waste Ascended tier heroes to upgrade the Ascension level of other heroes. Because to upgrade that Brutus from Legendary to Legendary Plus, you need 2 more copies. So, oh, you've wasted 4 Brutus copies just to get another Ascended tier hero upgraded to Mythic or maybe Mythic Plus. No, don't. So be very careful about this. I think the game has like warning telling you about this, but if the game doesn't, just so you know. Okay. Yeah, your main carry and main tank have priority. So this is again something important, and with this I'm probably gonna stop. If you're looking at your main carry, for me, for instance, it's Shamira. The main carry is the hero in my team that's pushing the most damage, and it's basically the hero that's killing the opposing team. So carries, they are called this way because they carry your team, like in other games, I don't know, Dota or League of Legends, or I don't know. So you want your carry to be the most powerful in your team. And for this reason, if you have choice in spending food between your carry and another hero, maybe because they are part of your primary faction, you always want to focus on your carry. Then after the carry comes the tank, which in my case it's Lucius. And the reason for this is because the tank also benefits a lot from stats which you also get when you ascend a hero. And of course the level up, which the actual levels also benefit the tank a lot. Supports, of course, benefit both from ascension level and from the actual stats, but they're not as high priority. So focus on your carry, then your tank, then whatever other supports you want. And of course, someone is a very good example of support you want to get to Mythic quickly because of his signature item. I'm not gonna go into signature item details. You just unlock them at Mythic level, and they are a completely different and long topic, so I'm not gonna cover it in this video. Okay, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to tell you. Oh, very important. When it comes to making choices and sticking to them, you have the Labyrinth store and the Challenge store as 2 places where you can actually target specific heroes. And for the Labyrinth store, you have a few options. Now, I would argue that if you're gonna play standard and you're gonna go Shamira carry, you want to get the Shamira copies first. And then in my case, I started going for Nemora just because I know she's good in the faction tower and she's super playable even late game, so I'm focusing on her. But whatever, the general idea is that you will want to pick a hero from here and pick heroes. Don't pick, I don't know, some bluestones or legendary tier heroes or even the essence. I would say it's not worth it. Arthur is a completely different topic, but I would say leave Arthur behind for a while. He's super late game where he becomes useful. But for the beginning of the game, you want to target the hero from here and stick to it. And the reason for this is that you're gonna get the extra copies, and of course you're gonna send that hero more predictably. Whether you want to pick it from your main faction or not, it's up to you. I didn't choose the main faction, for instance. I chose Chimera, who is in my off faction because Graveborns are not primarily targeted by my account. But it was still good to get her copies because I had the certainty that I could ascend her very fast. All I needed was the food, but the copies dropped from here pretty often. Yet I would keep her in the wish list as well, by the way, because even though you're getting copies here drop quite rarely in the sense that you need to do the labyrinth, and also the refresh rate, I think it's 30 days. So to get 8 copies only from here, you would need 8 months, and that's a lot. So my recommendation is keep her in the wish list as well, or whatever hero it is you're targeting here. And then for the Challenger store, it's kind of the same idea. Now, the Challenger store, I'm not sure at which chapter it gets unlocked. I think it's chapter 12 or something like that. When you unlock here in the Arena of Heroes, this Legends tournament. And oh, whoopsie. This is again something you don't want to do, like overflow. um, so, yeah. Once you get a Challenger store, you want to focus on one hero, pick that hero and stick to it. Some people like Aziz and Natalia. I'm not an Aziz and Natalia fan for super beginners, mainly because they take a long time. But if you really want to, pick one of them, stick to it. So if you're gonna pick Natalia, stick to Natalia. If you're gonna pick Aziz, stick to Aziz. Or you can pick another hero that you find useful. There are a couple of here that are really good. Fox, Belinda, Rosalind, Aaron, um, Lorson is nice. Yeah, that's probably about it when it comes to my personal opinion. But again, you pick whichever heroes you think work best. Maybe after this video, in a month or so, they change the hero, they buff someone, they nerf someone. I don't know. But the general idea is that if you pick someone, try to stick to them. And this applies also to the store. And I guess that's about it. So to sum it up, focus on your top 5 heroes. Choose heroes from different factions to split things up. Don't waste food on raising too many heroes at the same time. Food is faction specific, so if you focus your food on specific factions, you will upgrade those heroes. And be very consistent when it comes to your choices. And from that point onward, the whole Ascension process should be pretty simple. And that's about it for the guide. I hope you really enjoyed it, guys. If you did, please hit a like, hit a subscribe, feel free to leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video.